Hello everyone. Welcome to the day 28 of Learning Data Science. And I'm Avinash. And today we want to discuss about the nameless function, which is Lambda in Python. So, first, it's like what I start with. As you guys know, I start with the mind maps. Okay. And basically, how you can open the mind map is you can open it by simply typing on your Google Chrome or any browser which you are using it, right? You can just type there Python mind map, and on the very first result of it, you will see a mind map will be getting displayed there, right? So now let's start with the things. And yeah, just give me a second. Yeah, you have to type here Python mind map, and as soon as you will type it, you'll get here. And how you can operate the mind map is by double clicking into it. And again, till now, what we have covered, what we have discussed is introduction in Python, variables, data types, operators, conditional statements, loops, functions, comprehension, dictionary comprehension, list comprehension. So basically, these all things we have discussed till now, right? And within functions, we discussed about the user defined functions, functions with arguments, void, non-void. Again, in non-void, what are the two types of functions, return type, non-return type? We discussed those. And again, now it's come to the part of anonymous functions. And again, what do you understand by this term, anonymous? Okay. Again, I'm not asking in terms of Python or in terms of it. Means like it's a simple English word, it is there, anonymous. So, what do you understand by anonymous? So, it's something, it's like its identity is not defined. It's like its identity, it's not revealed. Okay. And again, why the identity is not revealed for that reason, for that person, it's anonymous function. Okay. And yeah, now we will start with the things. And what the very first part means, like the very first thing we will be discussing about this is, okay, now let me open my spider and we will start with the basics. We will start with the basic things. Okay. So what I will do here, I will just open a new file in my spider notebook or my spider id. I will just open it. And when I will open it, I will, let me just zoom it. And again, why I'm asking you guys to use spider, why I'm asking such things, right? Because it's a beginner friendly, and again, you can have lots of features is there, lots of feature is there when you are using spider, and it's a very beginner friendly tool, and yeah, it will help you guys. So basically, let's understand the part. So day before yesterday, we discussed about functions, right? And within functions, I've told you guys that the very first part using functions is user defined function, and the second is inbuilt function. Again, I have discussed about what is inbuilt functions. Okay. And now it's the part of nameless function. Nameless function means it's the same, the term which I used for, means like it's anonymous is a term given to a nameless function. It's like it's a synonym basically for that, right? So we will discuss about the basics behind it. What's the basics? Means like, for example, if you talk about basics, you might have learned about the uh, comprehension. Yesterday we discussed about the list comprehension, dictionary comprehension was there, right? We discussed about the slicing in strings, right? We discussed what's the basic syntax behind it, what's the basic syntax is, like, right? If we are discussing about slicing, so what's the basic syntax? The basic syntax is first is start, then it's end, and again then it's step, right? What's the basic syntax behind list comprehension or dictionary comprehension, right? The basic syntax again is, on the very first part, what you have to write, you have to write the, print or the value which you are going to store it, the values or the variable name where you are going to store that particular thing. So on the very first part it will come, on the second it will be the loop, and again in the third it will be the conditional statements, whatever conditions you are using it, right? So yesterday we have discussed all things. You can see here, means like what's the basic syntax is, what you want to print or the value you want to store it, right? It will be on the very first part. Second will be the loop, and third again the conditions, right? So now we will discuss about the lambda function, and again what the basic syntax behind lambda is. Okay, what's the, and it will be it can be used, means like it's not that in some advanced version of coding the syntax will change or the structure will change. No, it will not change, it will be the same as it had been. Okay, so the basic syntax pertaining to lambda is like, first, when we are defining any lambda function, so we have to write a variable name here as, I'm taking any variable name of my choice, you can take any variable name of your choice, right? So I will write here lambda. Lambda is again a keyword here, and I will write here x, and I will write here, for example, x into x. Okay, x into x I have written here. So basically what's the basic thing behind is, this is the input variable and this is the output variable. Okay, so what's the basic syntax behind lambda is, whenever you are defining any lambda function, so the basic is you have to use a keyword name lambda. Lambda is necessary for you guys to, otherwise Python will not understand what type of function you are using it, right? So you have to use a keyword lambda, and with lambda there will be an input function. Input function will be there, and again that input function will be separated by a colon, and similarly our output will be there. Output function, let's not call a function, let's take a variable name here. Okay, output variable will be there. Output variable will be there, right? So for example, if I am defining a function, okay, okay, so for example, if we are using any user defined function, right? So for example, user defined function we are using like this, def, and within def it will be x comma y. Okay, x comma y again, and I want you guys to identify whether it is a void function or non-void function, right? So I can write any name here. I've written my name, Avi. Okay, and I will use a semicolon, and what I will do here, I will just write sum is equal to, or I will just return x plus y. I'll return, and when I will call this variable, for example 1 comma 2, so ultimately it will return me a value called 3, right? You can see here my output becomes 3. Again, if I have to use the same thing inside a lambda function, lambda is basically a function, and that function is executed in a single line, right? And if we want to execute the same thing inside lambda, so try to be focused here. Try to be focused what I will be writing on my very next step, right? So what I will do, for example, x comma y, okay, I have defined 1 comma 2 here, okay, and I will write here print lambda, and within lambda, what I will do, I will write here x comma y. I will use a colon and I will use x plus y. Okay. And if I will execute it, so you can see it. Lambda, why it's giving, this is giving the position. This is giving the value at which the lambda is stored. Okay. This is giving the value at which the lambda is stored. Okay. So there is some quite connectivity issue in my area. Basically, it's been raining outside and it's being raining so heavily. So I have to just, so what's the basic behind it? What's the basic I'm trying to explain you guys? Okay. So what's the basic is, I've written here, whenever you are defining a lambda function, so the after writing the keyword lambda, what you have to write? You have to write here input variable, and then you have to write the output variable, and that should be separated with colon sign. Okay, that should be separated with colon sign. So here I have used the same thing. You can see here my input variable is x comma y, it's 1 comma 2. So I have written here my input variable, and then I've written similarly my output variable, what my output should come. Again, if I want to print the value, then what should I do? I should store it in some variables. Okay, I should store it in some variable. And if I will print s now, you can see here again, it's not giving us such values. Okay, so basically what conclusion you can draw from here is that whenever we are using lambda function, the values will store at it id. It's like there are various ids. Id in the sense what? For example, here if I want to check the id of s, okay, then I will write similarly your id here. Okay, so my id of s is here, and this is the lambda object. So basically what's being displayed here is the lambda object. Okay, so the important thing which you have to keep it in mind, that whenever we are using lambda function, we will not use multiple statements. If we are using for loop, conditional statements is there. Okay, if there are conditional statements, if there are conditional statements, loops, then we should avoid using lambda. Then we should, we should avoid using lambda. Why avoid using lambda? Because lambda is a one line function, and this function is not being called, and this function can't be reused as well. So if you want to continue a loop, if you want to do the same thing again and again, then it's suggested not to go with lambda. Why not to go with lambda? Because it's not being reusable. It's not reusable. For that reason, it's can't be reused again and again. So for that reason, we should avoid using the lambda function. Okay. Now, just be focused here, right? Okay. For example, you can see here lambda arguments plus expression means lambda the keyword should be there, and the comma separated input parameters and then separates input from output, and a single expression whose result is returned. No multiple lines or statements should be used here. No multiple lines we should use. Okay. And if I will write here 1 comma 2, okay, and if I am removing this line of statement, so you can see my value will be getting printed 3. Okay. So you can see here lambda was a function, and that function was stored in a variable s, and I called that function using a variable 1 comma 2. So my x comma y was my input variable, and x plus y was my output variable. And when I called this particular lambda function, my result got printed on the screen, on the console. You can see it, right? And again, there are various uses of lambda function. So we will discuss it again and again. Like with the help of lambda function, we can use every inbuilt function from it, right? So for example, now what we will do, we will just double the each element inside a list. Okay, double the each element inside a list. For example, I have a question here, L, and in the bracket, if I'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've written this, and if I want to double it, okay, so if I will write it here, print L into 2, and if I'll execute this line of code, then you can see that my values are being doubled. Okay, you can see here 1 2 3 4 5 6, and again 1 2 3 4 5 6. So similarly my values got doubled. So what if I have to use it using a lambda function? So how we will perform it? Okay, so yesterday we have discussed about the map function, right? What this map function does, I want you guys to comment on the comment section what this basically map function does. Map function basically combines the two list or several list into a single list, or a several tuples into a single tuple, or two lists into a key value pairs of dictionary, or two tuples into a key value pairs of dictionary. For that purpose we are using a map function. Similarly for lambda as well, we will be using a map function here. Okay, now what we will do, just to clear your confusion, let's try using it without a map function. Means like, just take the example of this. Okay, let's try using it. So for example, I've written here again s, and in s what I will do, I will write here lambda, and my input variable, say it will be L, and my output variable will be L into 2. And again what I have to do, I have to call my list, because again lambda is a function. For that reason I am calling it, otherwise it will not operate. You can see here above, whenever I have used by storing the x comma y values separately, and I have not been calling that function will not work. I've told the basic steps of functions in my function day 26. You can go and watch. The basic is that a function should have a function definition, a body, and a function call. You can see here, it is a function definition, this is the body, and this is the function call. So similarly, I have to call a function for a function to operate successfully, right? So if I will execute this line of code, then you can see that my list has been doubled. So I hope you guys are getting it. This was my input variable. My list was my input variable, and this was my output variable. I want to get this particular output. For that reason, I have written here L comma 2. And I have told you, you can't put any conditional statements inside it. Because why? Because conditional statement needs to be operated within a loop. Obviously, you have to check at least 3 to 4 conditions. So it can't be used. For example, if you want to use, let's try it. Okay, let's try if you want to use or not. If I will use, just say L mod 2 equal to, where is 0 0 actually my, okay, I have to check whether it's not a even number inside it. So whether it will print or not. You can see similarly, it will not be getting printed. For example, here you can see that I am dividing the list within integer. So now let's try with it. Let's try with it, whether I am able to perform it or not. I will do x comma y mod 2 is equal to 1 or not, whether it's a odd number or not. You can see here the syntax error is there. Why syntax error? Because lambda can't be used like this. It will take only 2 arguments will be there. Only 2 arguments will be there. So for that reason, it will not take it. I hope you guys are understanding why it can't take any loop or it can't take any variable. Now let's try using the same question using what you can say, using map function. Okay, so here I have defined my list, L is there, and what I will do, I will just simply write here q is my variable, and here I will use the function name as I want to basically store it in a list. So I'm using a list, and I will use a function name map, and within map what I will do, I will do lambda, and again I can take any variable of my choice, and I will do x into 2 and then comma L. Okay, so if I will execute this line of code, and if I will execute this line of code as well, and here if I will print q, then you can see here each elements inside my list got doubled. What I did here, I tried to double my list, means to print the elements 2 times. But here what I am doing, I am multiplying each elements inside 2, each elements inside my list by 2. Okay, so for example, on the very first value you can see your 1 was there, so 1 into 2, similarly it's 2, 2 into 2 4, 3 into 2 6, 8 10 12, similarly it's there. So what conclusion you can draw it from here, that if you want to iterate through iterables, then we have to use, then we have to use certain functions with lambda. Again, that functions can be filter, map, etc., etc. Okay. So if you want to iterate through my list, so like this we can do it. We can't use a for loop. We have to use another function within lambda for these things to happen, right? So now I had talked about that filter. Okay. So basically what filter function does, it will filter you the values. So my next question is, filter out the numbers greater than 50 from a list generated using range. Okay, I have to filter out the numbers in my list which is greater than 48. Okay, so what I will do, I will use will define a keyword, my variable name as f. Then I have to store that thing into a list. So what I will do, I will just do a type conversion. I'm writing for that purpose list. I will write here filter. Then within filter, what I will do, I will write here lambda, and lambda, it can be I, again I, and I should be greater than 48, comma, list range should be 1 till 100. I'm giving a range. 1 till 99. Okay. Now I will write here print f. Okay. So let me execute this line. Okay. Array and you can see here all the values above 48 got printed here. So what I did, I used the filter function here. So what, again, the key point to remember it, this was my iterable. For example, if I would have solved this question using a simple for loop, okay, so what I have did, for I in range, say it could be 1 till 99, and if I have to store it into a list, then what I could have written here, I would have written like this. And if my I is greater than 48, then L dot append I, and here I will print L. Okay. So if I will execute this line of code, then you can see here I got my values, right? So here you can see this was my input variable, this was my input variable, this was my output variable. Obviously this was my output variable. For that reason I was appending I here. I was checking my I value should be greater than 48, and if it's greater than 48, I was appending them inside a list. So here also I'm doing the same thing. I'm checking I, which is my input variable, which is from 1 till 99. My I value is 1 till 99, and I will check whether my I value is greater than 48 or not. If it's 48, then I will store it into a list. I'm storing it into a list, and the list range should be like this. So this will be the input, this will be the output variable, and this will be the certain functions. And that depends upon question, and that depends upon scenario. But the basic syntax behind Lambda is, whenever we are using Lambda, then the first we have to write input, then second we have to write the output. But again, don't forget to use the keyword Lambda. Otherwise, Python will not identify. And whenever we are using any function, whether it's map function or filter function, then only it will take a variable like this. Otherwise, it won't take a variable. It will not take. Let's try it. Let's, okay, let's prove me wrong. So what I will do, and I will try executing it. You can see here, it's showing incomplete input, syntax error. So if I will write here within this, now let's check whether it will run or not. Obviously, it will take, because I've told you that list will not take any, sorry, Lambda will not take, here I have written, any conditional statements. Lambda will not take any conditional statement until and unless we are using Lambda function inside some certain function, because this Lambda will not be getting called again and again. It's a single time use. It can't be used again and again. What's the difference behind this is, here I'm not using Lambda again and again. Okay, wait. Yeah, now it's there. Here I'm not using Lambda again and again. My filter function is there to support me, to support my statement. For that reason, it's getting executed. So if you want to use any conditional statements without in Lambda function, then obviously you have to use certain function inside. You have to use Lambda function inside certain function. And again, that function could be a map, that function could be a filter, that function could be anything, depending upon your domain, means like in which criteria you are using that Lambda function, upon what perception you are using that Lambda function, whether you have to sort some data frames, whether you have to sort some list, whether you have to sort anything, means like upon what you are using that. So if you have to use loop, you have to use conditional statements, then again you have to use it within some certain functions. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood the basic behind the Lambda. What is Lambda function, what is nameless function in list. Okay, so tomorrow what we will do, we will start with the iterators in Python. We will start with iterators. We will start with what is generator in Python, iterator and generator. What is that in Python? We will start that with tomorrow. So till then, I hope you guys are practicing at least 500 to 1000 lines of code. So just keep doing it. Don't skip, because I want you guys to sprint in your work. So bye bye. Good night. Take care. Jai Hind.